Hey, it's your girl Carla Renata, aka the Curvy Critic, and I am back. Let me turn some light onto the situation. It's a little dull. There we go. I was looking like a raisinette, and I didn't like that. But hello. I'm Carla Renata, and you have tuned into the Curvy Critic with Carla Renata. This is episode 158. What we do here is we do film reviews and we talk to people above and below the line in the film industry. There was a gang of people here last week tuning in to see my girl Lauren Ash from Superstore before we embarked upon our last episode of that. So thank you for tuning in to watch that. Thank you, Brandon, for being in the chat room once again. And I'm sure more people will join as we go along. So if this is your first time here, please give me a big old thumbs up to let me know that you were here. Click that bell for notifications and subscribe to the channel. And like I say every week, if Arsenio Hall can subscribe to the channel, you can subscribe to the channel. I always start out the week saying what I did with my week the week before. It was a pretty low profile week. I got my COVID-19 shot. So the first dose of that. So that was a big thing that I did. And I started a new room with two of my friends, Gray Drake and Amanda Salas. Amanda is the entertainment reporter over at Fox 11 here in Los Angeles. Gray Drake is formerly of Rotten Tomatoes and a film critic in her own right. And we started a room on Clubhouse called Movie Mavens, where we change the subject up every week. So if you are on Clubhouse and you happen to be on there at 6:00 on Sundays, join me, Gray, and Amanda. We'll be over there talking all things cinema. And what else did I do this week? I finally watched that Zach Snyder 4-hour cut of Justice League and Godzilla versus Kong. And the only reason why I watched them is because my mother wanted to watch them for her birthday. So that was her birthday present. Happy birthday, mommy. So we will get into that in a minute. But before we get into the Godzillas and the Tina Turners and the Zack Snyder's Justice League, let's take a trip around the curve. Hey, it's your girl Carla Renata, aka the Curvy Film Critic. Let's take another trip around the curve, baby. Hosted by Anthony Anderson, the NAACP Image Awards kicked off, and Anderson, his castmates Dion Cole and Marseille Martin, and the show all took home top prizes for the hit ABC comedy. Oscar winner Octavia Spencer nabbed Best Actress and Outstanding Television Movie for her role as Madam C.J. Walker in Self-Made, inspired by the life of C.J. Walker on Netflix. Viola Davis nabbed her 5th and 6th Best Actress awards from the NAACP as Annalise Keating in How to Get Away with Murder and the title role of Ma Rainey in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Eddie Murphy took home the Hall of Fame award for his 40-year career in film and television. Congratulations. Apple TV's The Banker with Anthony Mackie, Nia Long, and Samuel L. Jackson won Outstanding Independent Motion Picture. And for a full list of the winners, go to NAACPImageAwards.net. Bad Boys for Life might be having another sequel, but it also won Best Film. So congratulations, brothers. John Chu is directing the screen adaptation of the Broadway musical Wicked. He replaced Stephen Daltrey, who stepped away from the project last fall. He's also directing The Great Chinese Art Heist for Warner Brothers, based on the GQ article by Alex W. Palmer. Divine Joy Randolph has joined the cast of Paramount's romantic action-adventure comedy, The Lost City of D, with Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum. Daniel Kaluuya and Carey Mulligan will make their Saturday Night Live hosting debuts in April, continuing the NBC comedy string of first-time MCs. Their episodes will air April 3rd and April 10th, respectively. MoviePass is back. They started a countdown clock, saying the movie is about to start after shuttering over a year ago due to the pandemic. Promising young woman filmmaker Emerald Fennell is set to write the DC movie Satana, based on the popular DC movie comic, for Bad Robot and Warner Brothers, according to an individual with knowledge of the project. HBO Max, in accordance with Blumhouse Television, is producing a docuseries based on the life of Clueless star Brittany Murphy. Can't wait to see that one. I loved her so much. Sony Pictures is in early development on a movie take of the 60s sitcom Bewitched that starred Elizabeth Montgomery. Can't wait to see that one. Diggy diggy dig. Black Widow moves to theaters in July and will be released in theaters and on Disney Plus simultaneously, and the 101 Dalmatians spinoff Cruella has now been moved to a release date in theaters and on premium video on May 28th. Dr. Holly Carter's Releve teams with Revelations Entertainment for a docuseries History in Color, which will explore the contributions of African American trailblazers, disruptors, and unknown heroes who rejected the status quo and change the course of modern history. Oscar winner Morgan Freeman will direct the premiere episode. Katie Holmes, through her Noel Productions banner, has optioned The Watergate Girl, My Fight for Truth and Justice Against a Criminal President, the best-selling autobiography by former Watergate prosecutor Jill Wine Banks. Holmes will star, produce, and produce the project. Ray Donovan is returning to the silver screen, and Liev Schreiber is back and will co-write the script with showrunner David Hollander, who is set to direct. Jamie Foxx will be playing boxing great Mike Tyson in a biographical limited series. Antoine Fuqua is on board to direct and executive producer as well, in association with Martin Scorsese. We're also going to talk about Godzilla vs. Kong and more on The Curvy Critic with Carla Renata. Ooh, and don't catch Movie Mavens over on Clubhouse. Bye now. See you there. All right, that is it for Around the Curve. Let me just say hello to the people in the chat room. My boy Brandon is always there. And yes, Brandon, I heard that they showed 30 minutes of Luca on Pixar. And yes, I heard it is awesome. I have not seen it, but I'm sure I will see it soon enough. So thank you for that tidbit of news. You always keep me in the know. All right, let's get into this. Oh, and this just in. Black Adam, a DC comic book movie by the DC Universe, is going to hit theaters on July 29th, 2022. July 29th, 2022, Black Adam is hitting. Excuse me. Okay, now let's get into it. This Zach Snyder's cut of Justice League. Let me just first say, I like superhero movies. I really do. But do I need a 4-hour superhero movie? I kind of don't. They could have cut this up into 4 movies. They really could have. It was good. And they broke it up into chapters. It was, they broke it up into chapters to make it a little interesting. And it was good, but I didn't need 4 hours in a row. But I know that all those superhero fans and those hardcore fanboys that are seeing this and hearing me say this are going to come for me. Bring it on. I'm a big girl. I got my big girl panties on. I can totally take it. But what I will say is that I did enjoy it. It is written, directed, and produced by Zach Snyder. It stars Ben Affleck as Batman, Henry Cavill as Superman, Amy Adams as Lois Lane, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, Ray Fisher as the Cyborg / Victor Stone, Jason Momoa as Aquaman, Ezra Miller as the Flash, aka Barry Allen. Lex Luthor is in there as Jesse Eisenberg. Oops, that's a spoiler, but everybody's seen it. It dropped on March 18th, so I'm not telling most of the people nothing that they don't already know. And Jeremy Irons portrays Batman's right-hand man, Alfred. So this is what it's about. It clocks in at 4 hours. It's currently streaming on HBO Max, and it's fueled by the restoration of faith in humanity and inspired by Superman's selfless act. Bruce Wayne enlists all of the superheroes, Wonder Woman, and all the ones that I just mentioned to bring Superman back to life. Not Superman. Batman brings everybody back to bring Superman back to life so that they can take down this common enemy of theirs. And the whole 4 hours centers around that. But in the process of that, they give you the backstory of each superhero. Like, you find out, just to remind people, you find out why Batman is Batman and what his issues are. You find out why Wonder Woman is Wonder Woman, and so on and so forth. And it was nice to see everybody in one movie. It was nice to see all of the action. It was a lot of action. Like, I'm sure they could have condensed that action situation to a minimum. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot of action going on, but I enjoyed it. And the cinematography was just absolutely gorgeous. The things that they did with the cinematography and the special effects was really beautiful. It was mostly shot in like muted grays and blacks, though. There wasn't a whole lot of color going on. As a matter of fact, I don't think there were any pops of color at all, unless it was coming from the Flash's costume or from the Flash in general. But it was a lot of fighting going on. All of that said, I enjoyed it. You'll enjoy it, but just know that that bad boy is 4 hours long. So if you're going to sit down and watch it, I would suggest watching it on an early Saturday or Sunday morning, so that you can have the rest of your day, or watch it toward the tail end of your evening. Make sure it's not too far in the tail end of your evening, because you don't want to fall asleep while you watch it and you don't want to miss nothing. So that is that with Zach Snyder's Justice League, which is currently streaming on HBO. Now let's talk about this Godzilla versus Kong situation. Now, I haven't seen the other Godzilla movies. I'm not the last Godzilla movie I saw was like the old Godzilla, like the prehistoric OG Godzilla. And that goes the same for I think the last King Kong movie I saw was the one with Jessica Lange. That tells you how long ago it was since I saw those particular films. So when my mom said she wanted to watch Godzilla versus Kong, I'm like, ooh, really? Okay, let's watch it. So this one also is streaming on HBO Max. It's directed by Adam Winger. It stars Brian Tyree Henry. And this is the jits behind it. So for decades, cinematic titans Godzilla and Kong have been following their own separate theatrical journeys until now. This one, Godzilla versus Kong, is a monster-sized event, right? It deals with how they began their uncharacteristic attacks with cities. And the film picks up really close to what the last one did, where Kong finds himself in Godzilla's crosshairs, and they think each other is the enemy until they come to a common ground toward the end of the movie. The thing that I loved most about this film is that they had this little girl that was able to do sign language with Kong. That gave it a whole new element for me, and they updated it. It's not... the CG is kind of predictable in this movie, I'm not going to lie, but they gave it a new, like, it was very new. What's the word I'm looking for? It was updated in terms of how it looked. It had a lot of neon buildings and so on and so forth. And there was a lot of action in this one too. But for some reason, the action in this film kind of held my attention a little bit more than the action in Justice League, only because Justice League, it was kind of repetitive. And this one was repetitive a little bit too. But for whatever reason, it was a little more interesting. And I think it was because the story dealt with these two characters having heart at the end of the day and coming to a common ground, and not seeing each other as enemies, but working together for the common good. And I want to flip back to Justice League for a minute. The other thing about Justice League, the one thing about Justice League that I did really love, is that there was this common thread of these men and their fathers. All of these men, you would never think of a superhero needing love or being that reliant upon the love of a parent, but everybody's human, right? Everybody wants the love of their parent. Everybody wants to be loved by their mom and their dad. And so Superman and Batman and the Flash all had, and even the cyborg Victor, they all had these trajectories and these storylines with their dad. That appealed to me, and that I loved. What I loved about Godzilla was the fact that the two of these monsters came together for the greater good. And the CG in that and the photography in that was really good too. So again, both of those movies are streaming right now on HBO Max. Now, let me talk about this movie that I saw called The Father. And I have been saying for weeks that I was going to review this film, and I purposely didn't do it because I was avoiding it. I was avoiding reviewing the movie because it's dealing with being a caretaker and taking care of an aging parent, which is my current situation at the moment. So I was avoiding it because I didn't want to be all up in my feelings and just, be taken out. But what I will say about The Father, which is directed by Florian Zeller, and it stars Olivia Colman and Anthony Hopkins, who, by the way, I said a couple of weeks ago, is the oldest person to be nominated in the Best Actor category for the Academy Awards this year. Their performances are really stellar, particularly Anthony Hopkins' character, because Anthony Hopkins is of that age where this could very well be a reality for him. So I'm sure to take on this type of role, he probably had to think about it once or twice before he took it on, because not saying that he'll be there, because he's a very vibrant older man, but it's a situation that nobody really wants to say that they're in, or wants to admit that they are in that final stage of life that's gonna take them out of what their everyday reality is. And as far as the caretaker is concerned, that's a whole different situation, because you go from watching somebody that was strong, that taught you how to walk and talk and tie your shoes and eat and do everything that you know how to do, go backwards in life and become a child almost. And that's heartbreaking to watch somebody go through that. It really is. So what I will say about The Father, which is also produced by Sony Pictures Classics, is that it is a really heartwarming film that will break your heart into pieces. It will leave your heart shattered and tattered in a million pieces. And you will walk away thinking that if this is Anthony Hopkins's last role on film, he put his foot in it. He really did. He does an exemplary job, and makes himself extremely vulnerable within the circumstances of this film and within the circumstances of this character. So that's all I have to say about The Father. That is streaming on Amazon Prime Video right now, if you want to take a look at that. So I had the opportunity to talk to the directors of a documentary that is also HBO Max. Has been my jam this weekend. HBO Max has a documentary that's streaming right now. It started streaming yesterday. It's simply called Tina, and it centers around the life and the struggles of rock and roll R&B legend Tina Turner. It's directed by Dan Lindsay and T.J. Martin, and I sat down and talked with them. But before I review the film, I just want you to hear this interview that we did. We had a lot of fun, and this interview actually is a truncated version of one that was like 12 minutes long, but I had to cut it down for the sake of the show. So take a look and a listen to this interview with Dan Lindsay and T.J. Martin, and I'll do the review right after this. TJ, I want to ask you this question. Which is on the highest list for you? Being listed in Ebony's top 100 with Barack Obama, or doing this documentary about Tina Turner?
Oh, that's an amazingly unique question. and
that's how I roll, baby.
I don't know if I can rank. Well, I can rank them. I mean, let's be real. To have an opportunity to make a film on Tina Turner, and to merely not just be in her presence, but to really kind of like dive into her story and continue to continue to grow, to have an appreciation for her narrative, is kind of a once in a lifetime opportunity. So I'd venture to say the latter.
I have a very special connection with Miss Turner. I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, where she went to high school, and she actually went to high school with my mom. My mother's maiden name was Burchett. Her maiden name was Bullock, and she sat in front of my mom in school. And my mother loves to tell this story about Tina Turner, about how Tina Turner wanted to be a majorette, which I think is hilarious. Tina Turner wanted to be a majorette, and she asked my mom for some tips on, how she could, possibly get on the team. And my mother told her this trick about rolling down her bobby socks a certain way or whatever. And so my mother's taking credit for Tina Turner's legs based on that story. My mother tells me that story all the time, and I think that that's pure comedy. But she speaks very fondly of her all the time, which is one of the reasons why this particular interview was so important to me, because it's probably the closest I'll ever get to expressing that on behalf of my mom. They're the same age, and so I guess when you get to be that age, all of a sudden trauma and the past doesn't look so scary, because that this third and final act is finite. And that you don't have a whole lot of more time left. Speaking of which, I've seen her promote this, or whoever's dealing with her account is promoting it on social media. Heavy. So my question to you guys is, has she seen the film, and did you guys get to watch it with her?
our producer Simon Chin, and he reported back that she was beaming, so that made us feel good. And you know, she said that she felt the film was it was really interesting for her to watch it because it brought back obviously a lot of memories, but it's good and bad, and you know, but the thing she said was that she felt it was accurate, and that was a big thing for us. And then I think the maybe insightful thing was she said it wasn't as hard for her to watch it as she thought it might be, which, you know, when you see the film, you'll see she talks about this idea of acceptance at the end, and I think maybe that speaks to the truth of her getting to that place.
What is the most surprising piece of information that either one of you learned about Tina Turner in the course of making this doc? Because there had to be something that you were like, "Ooh, really?"
He did not have a good reputation in the music business, and here she was as Katori Hall puts it in the film, like, this is like the coming of age part. She had a coming of age around 40 years old. This is her like building her new identity, and the association was always with Ike Turner. So she was like, well, if I come forward with the realities of that relationship, maybe I can separate myself and be my own person and be my own individual. And the irony is that it did quite the opposite effect. The narrative became cemented to her for the next, 4 decades of her life. And that was just something we learned in the process of making the film. 1981 article, here's this woman coming, like, having the courage to be vulnerable, to come forward with her this tragic story in this tragic set of circumstances, and she's like like Johnny Carson's on the cover of
right. I saw that and I was like, oh my God.
In the corner, and it's like, what is going on?
I know, it was a lot going on. Well, I want to just wrap it up, but before I do, I want to tell you this. I want to congratulate you guys on getting this documentary done. It was really wonderful to watch. I enjoyed it very much. I watched it with my mom. Congratulations on all of your success. And it's been my pleasure to talk to you guys today. I'm big fans of both of you from your previous work. So this was a real joy and a treat for me. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. It was a pleasure to talk to you too.
Okay, cool. I do love TJ and Dan. I'm a big fan of their work, especially a documentary that they did called LA 92. But they're Oscar-winning documentarians. So it's always a great time to talk to someone whose work has consistently been honored and is consistently stellar. So let me talk about this Tina Turner doc. This is the thing about Tina Turner. We always think, like Dan and TJ said in the interview, we always think that her story started with that I, Tina book, which is what the movie What's Love Got to Do with It is based on, right? But it actually started with something else. It started with a People magazine article, like TJ said, where Johnny Carson was on the cover. And this was the thing, that story was done to highlight Tina, but for some reason, in the course of that interview, she was always attached to Ike Turner, no matter what she did, because everybody always says Ike and Tina Turner. Like, they don't just say Ike Turner. They don't just say Tina Turner. They always say Ike and Tina Turner. And she worked really hard to differentiate herself from that brand, to branch out and create a brand of her own, which she did. She won multiple Grammys. She toured the world. She was a movie star. She did the Mad Max movies, but no matter what she did, she could not break away from that duo name. And that's why when they got divorced, she asked, the only thing she wanted from the divorce was her name. And the other thing about it is that, when you have been domestically abused, as she was, that every time you talk about that, every time you go back to it, every time you revisit it in any shape, form, or fashion, it's like trauma porn. It's like you're revisiting this trauma over and over and over and over and over again. So she stopped doing a lot of interviews because people would always ask her, especially when Ike Turner died, how do you feel now that he's gone? It's like, well, how do you think she feels? So this documentary is her last and final time talking about that subject. This is like her big farewell to her fans. She's like, look, I'm going to tell the whole story, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And this is it. This is the last time I'm talking about any of this. And now we know that her health is failing over in Switzerland. So she can't do as many interviews and be out there like she would like to be. But I will tell you, Miss Turner is very active on social media. So I'm pretty sure she'll see this, and I'm pretty sure she sees everything that's written about the documentary. She's been posting about people seeing it and how proud she is of it. If you have the chance to watch it, please do so. It is a wonderfully crafted story about a Black woman who has survived domestic abuse and carved out a niche and a brand and a strong image for herself on her own terms. So please, please, please check that out if you can. I want to go through real quick in these last 5 minutes. And again, it's streaming on HBO Max. I want to go through in these last 5 minutes these SAG predictions, because the SAG Awards are next week. And I just wanted to give my predictions on that before it happens, because next week will be the SAG Awards live, and I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on that. So my prediction for best film is probably going to be, now, because it's the Screen Actors Guild, is voted on by the actors. So having said that, it's probably either going to be One Night in Miami, Minari, or Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. People have just cast their votes in the last couple of weeks, and because all this Asian hate has been happening, people may go ahead and vote for Minari. Minari is a good film, and I'm not saying that's the only reason they would vote for it. It's an excellent film, but I'm predicting it's going to be one of those three films. Outstanding performance by a female actor in a leading role is probably going to go to the person that should get it. The person that should get it is Vanessa Kirby or Carey Mulligan. But the person that's probably going to get it is going to be Viola Davis, or it'll be between the two women that I just mentioned. Outstanding performance by a male actor in a leading role is probably going to go to Chadwick Boseman, because he has consistently brought home the title or the prize for this category, which is a shame for the other people in that category. Stephen Yeun for Minari, Gary Oldman, Mank, Anthony Hopkins, The Father, and Riz Ahmed for Sound of Metal. Outstanding performance by a supporting female actor, I think it's probably going to go to, it's either going to go to Olivia Colman for The Father or Maria Bakalova for Borat's subsequent movie film. I would love to see either Helena Zengel or Yoo Jong-yoon win for Minari, but you know, the award season this year, y'all, has been kind of all over the place. So I'm honestly just like guessing at what I think is gonna rise to the top, because honestly, I don't really know. Outstanding performance by an actor in a supporting role. Chadwick Boseman is in that category as well, but I think Leslie Odom Jr. or Daniel Kaluuya might walk away with this, and or Sacha Baron Cohen for Borat, because that seems to be a really big fan favorite, especially amongst actors. Ensemble in a drama series, I'm hoping that it goes to Lovecraft Country. It's probably going to go to Bridgerton or Better Call Saul, because this is their last year, I believe, on the air. Outstanding performance by a female actor in a drama series is probably going to go to Gillian Anderson for The Crown, because she has been consistently winning in that category across the board. But again, this is the SAG Awards and it's voted on by actors. So anybody in that category could win. It could be Olivia Colman, Emma Corwin for The Crown as well, or Julia Garner or Laura Linney for Ozark. Outstanding performance by a male actor in a drama series. Sterling K. Brown has dominated this category for years and years and years. But it may be my young man from Bridgerton, Regé-Jean Page, may take away that one, or Josh O'Connor for The Crown. Outstanding performance by an ensemble in a comedy series. I think Schitt's Creek is probably going to take that, because it takes everything and it's actually very funny. Outstanding performance by a female actor in a comedy series. I'm thinking it's probably going to go to Catherine Hara for Schitt's Creek. The same goes for male actor in a comedy series. I think that's probably going to go to Jason Sudeikis and or Eugene or Dan Levy for Schitt's Creek. But I really wish that Nicholas Hoult could win it for The Great, because he really is literally great in that role. Outstanding performance by a female actor in a TV, movie, or limited series. I really wish that Nicole Kidman could get it for The Undoing, but Anna Taylor-Joy will probably get it for Queen's Gambit, and or the upset might be Kerry Washington for Little Fires Everywhere, or Michaela Cole for I May Destroy You, because a lot of actors really love her in that show, and it's getting no love at all. Outstanding performance by a male actor in a TV, movie, and or limited series. Mark Ruffalo has won in this category a few times. Actors love him, but actors also loved Hugh Grant in The Undoing, and everybody loves Hamilton. So I think this is going to be one of those categories that's kind of up in the air. I don't know which way that's going to go. Outstanding action performance by a stunt ensemble in a motion picture is probably going to go to Wonder Woman 1984. It should go to them because the stunts in that are crazy and insane. Let's see here. What's the next one? Oh, and the last one is outstanding action performance by a stunt ensemble in a comedy drama series is between Lovecraft Country, Cobra Kai, The Boys, The Mandalorian, and Westworld. I'm thinking The Mandalorian should get it, either Mandalorian or Cobra Kai or Lovecraft Country. Not sure. Again, it's kind of all over the place. Is the actress from U.S. versus Billie Holiday nominated? I don't believe she is. I don't believe she is nominated for, you talking about Andra Day. I don't think Andra Day is nominated for Best Actress. I did not see her name on the list. I saw, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, she might be. She might be. And maybe I just left her off by mistake. I think I probably did leave her off by mistake. Good catch. Let me see. What else are y'all talking about? Michael B says, you got to get HBO Max. Yes, baby. HBO Max has all the Warner Brothers titles. So it's worth it just for that, if nothing else. And Brandon, what did you hear? You heard that Sonic 2 has also started filming, and that is correct. So that is all the news that we have. Next week, I'm going to start breaking it down little by little, because the PGA Awards just had their big award ceremony. Most of the stuff that won there was Nomadland, Hamilton, The Queen's Gambit, Schitt's Creek, Soul, and The Crown. The WGA Awards are happening. Not the WGA Awards are happening. They've already happened. And adapted screenplay went to Borat, subsequent movie film. Promising Young Woman got the original screenplay. The Dissident got the documentary screenplay. Documentary script went to Agents of Chaos Part 2, and documentary script other than current events went to Opioids, Inc. The DGA Awards are happening on April 10th. The BAFTA Awards are happening on April 11th. The Oscars are happening on April 25th. And the Santa Barbara Film Festival is doing their honors somewhere in the middle of there. So I will keep you guys apprised of all of that, and we'll just go right down the list and look at who's won what to make some pretty decent on the money predictions about who may take home the Oscar. Next week, y'all, I have a special treat for you. So since we've been talking about superheroes and special effects and CG and all that kind of stuff, I have to tell you that I have the entire cast of Netflix's Thunder Force. Y'all know I have been screaming about plus size superheroes for years. And yes, we got 2 plus size superheroes in the form of Melissa McCarthy and Octavia Spencer. They will be here along with Bobby Cannavale, Ben Falcone, and Taylor Mosby. I will have all of them here next week to talk about Thunder Force. Cannot wait to talk about Thunder Force. And what else are we going to talk about? I think that's probably going to be it. And I'll go through those nominations and things. But along the way, I'm going to try to bring some people in here to talk about music. I might get the person who's behind A Concerto Is a Conversation. I may get him. I might get in some other people that are behind the scenes. You know, I love talking to my directors and people that do stuff behind the scenes. So we'll try to do a little bit more of that. I love you, Michael B. You're like, okay, I am so there. Yes. And I'm going to be here too. I cannot wait. You guys are going to love those interviews. We had a lot of fun. So again, for anybody that is here for the first time, please give me a thumbs up to let me know you are here. Please check out all the other interviews that have happened with Eddie Murphy, Russell Crowe, Tracy Morgan, Arsenio Hall, my girl Lauren Ash from Superstore. Mark McKinney will be coming from Superstore at some point. I'll let you guys know when that's going to go down. And yeah, just, subscribe. Click that bell for notifications. And like I always say at the beginning and the end of the show, if Arsenio Hall can subscribe to the channel, you can subscribe to the channel. Thank you, Brandon, Michael B., and Dolores Leach for joining me for this edition of The Curvy Critic with Carla Renata, episode 158. I will see y'all next week with the cast of Thunder Force. Until then, stay safe, wash your hands, get that COVID vaccination, keep that 6 feet distancing apart. And all right, love, peace, and hair grease, baby. Until the next time on the flip side. Bye.